Hi guys, this video is going to be pretty short. This material isn't very long and it shouldn't be too difficult for you to understand. This lesson is over what we call CPCTC, and that stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. If you think about what that says that if you have two pairs of triangles that are congruent to each other, then all of the corresponding parts of those two triangles are going to be congruent to each other. Pretty, self-explanatory. So what I have here is an example of a proof that is already done for you. We are given here that angle KBC is congruent to angle ACB. Angle K is congruent to angle A. And we're trying to figure out if KB is congruent to AC. So we're given two pairs of angles are congruent. We're trying to figure out if a side is congruent. In order to do a proof for this, you need to first prove that the triangles are congruent, and that's where you're going to use side, 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 angle, or angle, angle, side. And then once you prove that the triangle is congruent, your last step is to prove that those two sides are congruent by CPCTC. So basically, the proofs for this are going to be just like the ones that we've been doing the last couple days for side, 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 angle, and angle, angle, side. But now we're going to take that same proof and we're going to do one extra step. So if you take a look at my proof here, I have my first statement as KBC congruent to ACB. Those two angles are congruent, and that's given to me. And then I have that K is congruent to A, and that's given to me. I also know, like I said in class, this should be something that you just automatically, it's understood. I also know that BC is congruent to CB. And I know that because of the reflexive property of congruence. Now what I've done here is I've proven that these two triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. Notice how I have it in order of angle, angle, side in the proof. So that also helps me know that it's angle, angle, side for my reason for the triangles being congruent. Now after that, since I know both triangles are congruent, I can then say that KB is congruent to AC because of CPCTC. I don't want you guys to have to write out the whole thing, so you can just abbreviate using CPCTC. Remember that you can abbreviate all of the other congruence theorems, the angle, angle, side, side, angle, side, 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 and side, angle, side. That is fine as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this example right here. This will be our last example for this video. We are going to use the given information that AB is congruent to AC and that M is the midpoint of BC and prove that angle AMB is congruent to angle AMC. So we got to show that those two angles are congruent. And in order to do that, we've got to use the information that we already know to help ourselves out. Because we know that AB is congruent to AC, we're obviously going to know that that's one of the sides. M being the midpoint of BC automatically makes BM congruent to CM. So we know that that's another pair of sides. And then we also know that AM is congruent to AM because of the reflexive property of congruence. So that tells us that triangle ABM is congruent to triangle ACM because of the side, side, side postulate. Now, because I have now said that those two triangles are congruent, that means that angle AMB is congruent to AMC because of the corresponding corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out this proof, but I'm going to pause the video and write it all out, and then I'll replay the video in just a second. Alright, so here is the proof worked out. I started out with the second given statement actually. I started out by saying that M is the midpoint of BC that's given to us. And then because of that, we can say that BM is congruent to CM, and that's the definition of midpoint. AB is going to be congruent to BC, and we know that because it's given. I also added just a note for you for your personal information that is also marked on the picture, but it is given, so we can put given as our reason. We also know that AM is congruent to AM because that's the reflexive property of congruence. Because of all of that, we can say that the two triangles ABM and ACM are congruent by side, side, side. And then now, because those two triangles are congruent, we can say that angle AMC is congruent to angle AMB because of CPCTC. So in class tomorrow, you'll do some extra proofs to help you just understand this a little bit better. If you feel like you need some extra help, you can always log on to Pearson or look in your textbook. And if you do log on to Pearson, there's a lot of tutorial videos. You can also look up, just Google CPCTC, and you'll find a lot of extra stuff. Hope you guys have a good evening, and I'll see you soon.